So you're looking to move to or move within the state of Utah, and you're considering perhaps new construction versus existing homes. And that's a huge player in the marketplace today, especially in the #1 state in the country where the most homes are being built. In other words, more homes are being built in Utah per 1,000 residents than any other state in the country. So new construction homes play a vital role to the housing market here, as we are in great demand for new housing, and new construction's a major player. And as an experienced real estate expert, including with new construction, I can tell you people get really excited. It's a really fun experience to be able to go through and build your own home with a builder, to pick things out, and going through this experience can be both exciting as well as challenging, especially in a booming housing market like Utah. And in this video, I'm going to cover 3 main topics. First, I'm going to cover what you need to know before building or buying new construction. Then I'm going to talk about how building science and engineering has improved the quality of construction of homes over the decades. And this is really contrary to what many people believe, in that they think that our construction of homes today is far worse than it used to be. But I'm going to talk about that just a little bit as well. And the third thing I'm going to talk about are the key criteria that you need to look for when selecting a home builder yourself. Now look, it's pretty fun to go shopping for new homes. You walk into some model homes from various different builders, but really what you're being sold is just that perspective from that one home builder. So what I like to do, and to make sure that my clients have in their tool bag, is that perspective where I can direct them based on all of the different home builders that are building in a certain region or a certain area, to make sure that they know all of their options, not just the options that are available with one specific home builder. And look, if we haven't met yet, my name is Steele, and I absolutely love helping people get into new construction homes. So if you're looking and considering making that move, my contact information is down below. You can always reach out to me. I would love to be your guide, and I can make sure that you not only get what you're looking for, but you avoid the pitfalls that many people fall into when they're buying new construction. All right, first and foremost, let's talk about the things that you need to know before building and buying new construction homes. And I think this starts with research and planning. The first and most relevant thing that you need to talk about and think about before you're considering purchasing new construction is to do the actual research yourself. You want to go through this process and understand the pros and the cons of buying new construction versus existing homes, so that you're well prepared for the journey, because it can be a little chaotic and a little stressful if you're not fully aware of what you're up against and what the timelines might look like. And during this research and planning phase, it's critical to start developing a really good understanding of the local real estate market, not only to that city or that community, but that actual development. You want to know what the population forecasts show, as well as what's to come in the area. Is there going to be a freeway right behind the subdivision? Is there going to be something a little more attractive that might increase the values of those properties? It's that local market research and that knowledge and expertise that's going to guide you to make sure that you end up in a subdivision, in a neighborhood, in a development that will serve you long-term and be the best investment possible. And a big part of this is the development of the separate communities that we're seeing pop up all over the state of Utah. And it really helps dial you in and make sure that if indeed new construction is the right thing for you or not. All right, the next thing you have to really understand and know before you're buying new construction is you've got to know a little bit about the lingo and the way that builders agents are selling you the dream, right? You want to know and understand the difference between the base price of a home and what people actually end up spending based on upgrades. Now, they use all sorts of lingo and words based on lot premiums, based on upgrades and structural changes to the property, and different things that people do when they go through the design process phase of construction. And they usually almost always end up quite a bit significantly higher than that base price. So as you drive around and you're looking at new construction subdivisions and neighborhoods, and you see a big sign that says from the 500s or from the low 600s, you're probably seeing homes that are priced about $50, $60, perhaps $70,000 more when they're finally all built and done based on the upgrades that most people make. And it's important to understand as well why home builders price their homes at a base price to begin with, because everybody wants different things, but also that builder is trying to compete with the other builders in the market. And so what they're doing right out of the gate is they're basing their price of their homes kind of almost as a loss leader in terms of their subcontractors, their finishes, the different features that are going into the home. And it's that base price that is just a starting point to get people in the door and to make sure that they find a home that they're actually looking for. But when it's all said and done, you're you're likely going to spend, sometimes up to 10% or even more, but oftentimes people will spend 5, 10, or even 15% more based on their upgrades and their selections that they choose to make. Now, that's obviously entirely up to you. I just want to make sure that clients have healthy expectations going in to make sure that, okay, what do most homes in this subdivision actually end up selling for based on what most people do in terms of upgrades? And just being honest, the base price on these homes, you really don't get much of anything for the most part. Now, in some of the higher price points, you'll obviously notice that you're going to get a little bit more features that come with that base price. But understanding how to go through the upgrade process, knowing what is worth spending money on and perhaps what is not worth spending on, is a really key development in your process of making a decision as to what you're choosing to build. All right, the next thing that we really want to talk about is healthy expectations regarding timelines. Now, some of the local home builders or the regional or even national home builders give some pretty healthy timelines in terms of a build time. They might say that it's going to take 9 to 10 months to build the house. And more often than not, we're seeing that those times are actually being hit pretty close. And so when they give you those timelines, as long as they're actually realistic, I think that is something that's really helpful. But oftentimes is the case where a home builder will give a projection on a timeline and they blow right past it. Many, many months go on. And when that happens, it is incredibly stressful for clients, especially if it involves your family or the sale of a different property or all the different things, the moving parts that you have to juggle as you're making a massive real estate decision and moving into a brand new home. And of course, we're in Utah, so there are so many potential delays. It could be weather related. It could be something based on seasonality, or, in the past we've had supply chain issues. You never know what might pop up that could delay the timelines of your new construction build. So having a healthy expectation right out of the gate and a strategy to make sure that your transition from the place that you're living in now can be as smooth as possible is crucial. And along those same lines of timelines, they can be greatly impacted when you customize anything in a home or you make changes during the process of construction. It's called a change order. And these can drastically increase the timelines for construction. So it's very important to nail down those selections and those customizations right out of the gate so that we have a healthy timeline moving forward. And just like anything else, there are pros and cons to sticking with the base options versus selecting specific upgrades. I think it's really helpful to make sure that I'm guiding clients and letting them understand that maybe putting money into this one thing over here might bring more value in the property long term, whereas something else that they really, really want, but it's not going to help the value of their property long term, could be a decision worth postponing. It's those upgrades that really come into play. I think that one of the biggest upgrades that you can do when you're building a new home for potential value in the future would be adding that walkout basement. So many people are looking for ADUs, and that stands for accessory dwelling units, where they can have a finished basement that acts as a full apartment. So that walkout basement, that money that you might spend on that right out of the gate, is probably the best money you could possibly spend. And other upgrades are super helpful for the value of your home as well, but others can be a complete waste of money. So it's really helpful to be able to balance those things and understand where the best places are to put your money to begin with. All right, next, you really have to understand the builder's warranty and the process based on post-closing. What's going to happen when something goes wrong? What's going to happen when things pop up? Because oftentimes is the case when you buy new construction homes, you'll notice that things start popping up. You'll see nail pops in the drywall. You'll see some cracks appearing in the drywall. And that's pretty normal based on settlement and everything else that happens within reason. We want to make sure that a proper home inspection is done as well to make sure that you're getting the product that you deserve, the home that you deserve, and that it's going to last long term. So all of these different factors really come into play, but they're really important to look through the eyes of the builder's warranty and to make sure that they're going to take care of you after the purchase of the home as well. And there are a lot of common things that pop up through purchasing a new home and living in it for the first year that are pretty normal. And knowing what those healthy expectation levels might be and knowing that a builder is going to respond to those things and come and touch those things up towards the end of that period of that warranty to make sure that those things are taken care of and what's not covered are really healthy in setting that expectation for the future. What I've noticed is that most of the local, regional, or even the national builders, they have a pretty dialed in process by which they actually go through these things, and they have a good system for delivering these warranty claims and making sure that they get done. Now, sometimes the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the grease, and when something really has to get done, sometimes you have to really push and nag and nag and nag. I get it, but that's why I'm here. It's my job to make sure that I take that off your plate as a consumer, as a buyer of a new construction home, because I know things to look for that perhaps you don't if you haven't gone through the process yourself many, many times. And I absolutely think and feel that the biggest and most important thing that you need to understand before buying new construction is looking at the contracts. So in Utah, builder contracts are typically almost always different than that of the other contracts that we use in real estate. So through the division of real estate, we have approved forms and contracts that we use when transacting in real estate with existing homes. But more often than not, with new construction homes, we use a builder real estate purchase contract. And oftentimes, that builder real estate purchase contract can be heavily weighted in their favor. So we want to make sure that we go through those contracts. Now, oftentimes is the case, I understand the contracts from many of the popular builders here. So knowing what to look for, what to watch for, and how to structure the contract initially to make sure that your interest is maintained throughout the entire process is absolutely crucial. So contracts. If you ever are buying new construction homes, make sure that you have somebody qualified that understands these real estate purchase contracts that can give you some guidance as to what you're signing before you do so. All the more reason why you need somebody representing your best interest through the process as well. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is how homes are actually built better today than they were 20, 40, and 60 years ago. I get a lot of feedback from people that feel like and think that homes are just not built like they used to be. They feel like they're just thrown up so quickly that they're just not quality homes anymore. And to be honest with you, I understand the sentiment. I completely understand why people feel this way. They see homes going up so rapidly. The assumption is that they're just not built like they used to be. And of course, they hear the headlines for that one story over here or that one story over there where a product or a home just wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. But all in all, building science and technology and engineering have drastically improved over the decades to the point where homes that are being built today are far superior to that of the homes that were built 60, 40, and even 20 years ago. There's so many countless examples that I could highlight in the construction process as we walk through your new construction home and show you how things are done today versus how they were done 20, 40, or 60 years ago, and why these systems are working better today, especially in Utah's climate and especially with the standards that are set in place in today's building environment. All in all, today's homes are far more energy efficient, far more comfortable, and yes, even dare I say, far more durable than the homes of the past. Now, there are exceptions to this, of course. There are some homes that are built with certain exterior materials that just don't hold up as well in our climate. Maybe they need to be repainted every 8 years or 5 years, right? If you drive through neighborhoods like Daybreak, for example, where so many, if not the vast majority of the homes are built out with a cementous siding plank board on the outside of the property that needs constant painting every 5 to 8 years, maybe 10 years maximum, of course, you might think that homes are not built as well today as they once were. But when you look down in the skeleton of a home, how a home is built from the footings, the rebar that's in those footings, the foundation, the stem walls, the framing, and how everything's tied in together, structurally, building homes has gotten better over the decades. And I would argue that they're going to continue to get better in the future as more technology and more systems and new materials come out that will make this process even better. And from my personal experience where I used to build homes as well as renovate homes, the homes that were built prior to World War II, the foundation problems that we could see in those properties was absolutely tremendous. We don't see those in the homes that were built after World War II. And then if you advance even further past the 1970s and the 1980s, the way that foundations have been improved upon is pretty remarkable, because as everything in these homes has improved, so too have the technology and the craftsmanship behind it. And that goes from insulation to roofing materials to how we actually build the house to begin with to make it more comfortable, more energy efficient, and more durable. We've also seen the introduction to green building practices, which has been a massive improvement on how we build homes today versus just a few decades ago. And not to mention all of these things and these reasons why newer homes are better than older homes in terms of the technology, but so too have the floor plans evolved. We've seen modern floor plan design come into play where even from 25 years ago, we see homes that have much more closed off floor plans. Well, today it's much more open and people want to be with the family, whether it be in the great room, the dining area. They typically want that all open to each other to make sure that the family can feel like they're connected inside of their home. In addition to the floor plans, we've seen advanced technologies in the systems we use, from floor joists that are engineered rather than dimensional lumber. We see advancements in HVAC systems. We see advancements in plumbing technology, in the fasteners that secure everything to the home. Everything has advanced over the last few decades to the point now where I can confidently say that a home today is built better than it was 30 years ago. And I think the icing on the cake for all of this is the smart home technologies that have been incorporated in many of the new modern home designs. You've got your Ring doorbells, and you've got your programmable thermostats, and you've got your security systems. You've got all of these technologies helping make the home better serve you and your family, which I really like. All right, next I want to talk about how to select the right home builder. And I'm going to cover 5 key points that you need to look into before you go pick a home builder. Now, I say this to each and every client that's considering new construction. If you scour the internet and look for negative reviews on any builder, you will absolutely find it, because building a home is incredibly chaotic, really stressful. It's a really emotional process, especially if you don't have someone to guide you through that process, where a lot of negative reviews are left. And that is actually part of the process of building. What I value most in a home builder is how do they respond to these problems? Do they communicate? Do they work with the buyer? Do they make sure that they're doing everything that they need to and that they're supposed to as the home builder? Because oftentimes you have unreasonable buyers and you have sometimes unreasonable builders as well. So we want to make sure that that relationship is realistic and that healthy expectations are set and met. All right, 5 steps in choosing the right home builder. Number 1 is research the builder's reputation. Now, reputation comes in 2 forms. You can obviously look up all of the reviews you can find, whether it be on Google or Facebook or otherwise, and make sure that you can see what other clients are saying about their homes. The other thing that comes into play here with reputation is how long have they actually built homes? Are they a brand new startup home building company that maybe they don't have the resources or the systems in place to really best serve the client? And so all of these things build into what I think is incredibly important, and that is reputation. All right, next up is quality of workmanship. So earlier I mentioned the word craftsmanship, and I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of people feel like the craftsmanship, the art of the craftsmanship in building homes has kind of been lost. I totally understand that. I get it. Most of what we build today is pretty easy to put together in terms of it doesn't require a ton of craftsmanship in the hands of the skilled tradesman, but craftsmanship and workmanship really come into play. So how do we know what the workmanship and the craftsmanship are for a specific home builder? Well, I can walk into model homes and I can spot things really quickly. The average consumer, as they walk through a model home, they might be oohed and awed by the beautiful backsplash in kitchen or the furniture or the decor and how wonderful it looks and how fresh and clean and how really nice it smells. All of those things come into play, but I can spot things too. If there's not attention to detail in the things that I'm noticing, it might throw up a few red flags and we want to ask questions. But I think that the best way to check on builders' workmanship is to visit their job sites, to visit the neighborhoods and the subdivisions that they're currently building out. And if I can walk through homes that are going through the framing stage, or perhaps at that 4-way stage of construction where the framing is complete, the mechanicals, in other words, the HVAC system, the plumbing and the electrical are all done. If I can see the homes at that stage of construction, I can give you really good, valid, and visual instruction and advice as to what I'm noticing and what we're seeing to make sure that you separate the good builders or the bad builders. Now, here's the funny thing. Almost every builder that I've run into, they build homes and subdivisions with really well-built homes, as well as homes that aren't so well built. So it really comes down to the specific neighborhood based on the specific subcontractors they're using within that subdivision. So that is more important to me than even the home builder itself, because I've seen every home builder build quality homes, and I've seen many home builders build not so quality homes just within the same cities themselves. So it really comes down to neighborhood specific stuff that I want to go and tour the neighborhood, tour the development, and actually put my eyeballs as it's being built before things start getting covered up. All right, the next thing you really need to look for when looking for a new home builder is what is their communication and their transparency. If they're really transparent with their systems, with their invoicing, with their upgrades and their change orders, that's a really good thing. I love to see that because it really creates a more trusting environment between the buyers and the builder to make sure that they're getting to the finish line together as opposed to trying to hide things, right? And I believe that the best builders are the best communicators. The communication is absolutely crucial. And if they have a system and a process by which they properly and effectively communicate with their clients so that you as the buyer can actually feel confident that things are happening and that the problems are being resolved, that is really helpful. All right, next up, the next thing I think is really crucial in picking the right home builder is what are their customization options? Do they allow you to make the changes that you want to make? Because not every builder is going to do that. Some builders are far more flexible and others are really restrictive as to doing anything in or on or around your home. So we want to make sure, again, that we really dial in what you're looking to accomplish and what you're looking to build and make sure that that particular home builder will work with us to accomplish the same goal, or are they really restrictive? Typically what we notice is bigger home builders oftentimes have more restrictions as to the customization options that they offer, or they've really got a good system put together where you can choose your upgrade packages, which really helps keep things streamlined and it still gives you enough flexibility to get the home you really want. All in all, I think the customization options are super important. And last but not least, I think the post-construction support is huge. What is their warranty? Do they have a warranty department? Do they have a contact person to get in touch with when anything goes wrong or anything pops up during that first year after construction? It's really important to check in after about 9 to 10 months in to make sure you've experienced almost a full year's worth of seasonal changes to see what's actually actually happening in the home and inspect what's going on to make sure that the builder has got everything covered and to make sure that the home is good to go and last a lifetime. And again, this really boils right back to communication. Are they good at communicating with their post-construction detail in terms of the warranty and the delivery of quality craftsmanship after the fact? Or are they just getting paid after they sold the home and they're never returning your calls after that? That's really important. And to tie this all back into reputation, this is really crucial for home builders here in Utah to make sure that when they have agents representing buyers, to make sure that they're delivering something to those buyers that they can be proud of and that their reputation does not get destroyed because they're not serving those agents' clients properly. All the more reason to make sure that you have representation throughout the building process and not just relying on the builder's agent representing the builder. So to briefly summarize everything I've talked about, number one, what are the things that you most need to know before selecting a builder or building a new home? Number two is understanding building science and technology advancements that have given us a better home today than what we had just decades ago. And number three, how to select the right builder to begin with. Now, I've helped guide so many people to the finish line with buying new construction homes. It's a passion of mine. I absolutely love doing it. So whether you're building from the ground up on a lot or you're buying a new build that's maybe a spec home that's partially built already, I'm here to help you and serve you throughout that process to make sure that you're getting the home that you deserve and that you're paying for. My name is Scott Steele, and my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice, especially with new construction. If you have any questions, hit us up. You can find my contact information down below, or you can book a call with me right in that pinned comment on this and each and every video. And stay tuned for more videos around new construction because it's a massive part of our business as we guide clients in buying new construction homes each and every single day. And until the next video, thanks.